Okay, Anna.
Hi, everybody. This is Anna Hacker from Green Sisterhood, and I'm here with my co-host, Karen Lee. Karen, wave. I'm also
Can you
here
see
with,
me?
yeah,
Can you see me waving? Okay.
I can see you waving.
Okay.
And you should see her really pretty top. It's really pretty. I'm going to put her
Yes.
up on the screen just for.
I'm all pink.
She's all pink
I'm all
today.
pink today.
I have to show you how pink she is. She's all pink.
To match my pink bar.
Yeah, this.
Anyway.
I'm loving her top. You know, it's the first thing I said.
Summer.
I know. Well, you would never know with all the rain.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. No, I can't stand the rain. We're here actually with a fascinating guest today with Britta Aragon. She is, gosh, she's a list. She's the founder of the CVSkinLabs. She's the author of a book, as well as the editor of a blog called Cinco Vidas. And what we're going to be focusing on today is safer cosmetics. Because, you know, with summer, you want to put on those pinks and the makeup and the lipstick and the lip gloss.
You have lipstick on today.
I actually have, oh my God, you saw I have lipstick on. This is like a first, see?
I know. Britta, this is a miracle. She never puts anything on.
Usually, actually, half the time my fingernails are full of compost, which drives Karen crazy.
I know. She has this little dirt under her nails.
Yeah.
And I always go, wow, you have dirt under your nails, literally.
I am the original hippie here. So we're actually going to be talking about safer cosmetics today, and I'm going to put Britta up because she's a great story. And actually, Britta, I'm sorry, I keep saying your name, Britta. Britta.
So pretty.
Rita, yes, it's okay.
I'm going to put her up, and I don't want to. She's so pretty. I have to put her up. Wait.
She's up.
Look at her skin. Look at that skin quality.
I know, she's so radiant.
Oh my God, and her hair. I mean, I'm so jealous.
Oh, you guys.
I am so jealous. Yes, like, you know, even lipstick ain't helping for me. So,
Fusion minerals.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. You know, you have a great story, and actually what was really compelling to me is when I read that you had Hodgkin's disease, and you know, you're down with the cancer. Tell us a little bit about your background, you know, how you've dealt with the diseases and the big C.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show today. It's a pleasure. I love talking about this and really starting the conversation because really of my story. And my story started when I was diagnosed when I was 16 years old with Hodgkin's disease. And, you know, I had treatments. I lost my hair. I had really dry skin. I gained some weight. But after about a year later, I went right into remission. But that did something for me. You know, as a teenager, I didn't have the capacity to understand what was going on, but it imprinted something in me and what I mean by that is that it allowed me to start focusing on health. I really piqued my interest about health. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life yet. I was 16, but I really, at some level as a teenager, I understood, I want to start getting into a healthy lifestyle. Fast forward 9 years later, and I had the disease when my father was diagnosed with colon cancer. And that's really when it was more of an eye-opening, because at that point, I'd become a makeup artist, and I was regularly working. I knew beauty, right? I knew the brands, I knew what to use, I knew the hottest things. And when he was going through different side effects of chemo and radiation, that's when I realized that I needed to buy him good products. So I bought expensive products for sensitive skin, came home, applied it on his skin, and I was shocked that they actually irritated and burned his skin even further. So that's when I went, wow, what's in here? That's the first time I ever turned a jar around to read what was on that label. So then I went to the health food store, and I'm like, you know, and what was on the label, that's the first time that I actually found out there was potentially harmful chemicals, and some of them even linked to cancer, and a whole bunch of irritants. Then I went to the health food store, and I said, okay, I got to buy him anything natural because I don't want to have anything possibly linked to cancer on him. So I went to the natural store. You know, back in the day, there was no Whole Foods, and I bought natural products, and then those didn't work. They you know, they were thick, and they were natural, but they weren't effective. And so that's really how I became involved in what I do today. Is I wanted to, when my father passed away, 8 years later, after he fought for 8 years, I dedicated my work to his legacy, and I wanted to provide solutions and resources for people that were in the same place I was, because I had a gift now. I had the gift of frustration, confusion, and not knowing what to do, and now I wanted to do something about it. I didn't want to be confused. I didn't want to be scared. I didn't want to say, why is it that there's synthetic chemicals on my cream, on my lotion? How does that even make sense? So that's how I started Cinco Vidas, which is a blog that talks about how to reduce the toxic exposure in personal care products and food, home, the environment. And it also talks about how to really use natural solutions for any type of skin condition. You know, and then we've been so blessed that it's really become a community of people sharing about what works and what doesn't work. And at the same time, that's when I created CVSkinLabs, which the top 3 things for us were safety, natural organic formulas that actually worked. And so that's where I am today.
So, you know, when you talk about, you know, your own revelation, a lot of people are really scared of turning that bottle around. So if you could name like 5 toxic ingredients that are like red flags, like if you see them, it's like run for the woods, what would you say? Like your top 5 bugaboo toxic chemicals would be?
Well, there's so many, and I always like to talk about them in groups. There's your potential harmful ones, then there's your irritants that are not necessarily going to pose any danger to your health, but they're irritating to the skin. And then there's the synthetics that, as well, they're not going to be dangerous, but they really are doing nothing to the skin. So if we're talking about the potentially harmful ones, I would definitely say phthalates is a really big one, and those are plasticizers, and they're used in hairsprays and nail polishes. Another one I would say is formaldehyde, and that has actually been linked to cancer, so it is a carcinogen.
Are they still using formaldehyde?
Yes.
Well, they are, but it is mostly, it can be a byproduct of some preservatives, so it's not always going to be on the label. And so I think formaldehyde is one of the big ones because it is a carcinogen. So you do want to look for, when you're on labels, you want to look for preservatives that are not formaldehyde, they're not releasing formaldehyde. So ureas or, you know, parabens don't release formaldehyde, but that's a third ingredient that I would stay away from. And I know a lot of people are aware of parabens, and you know, they can mimic estrogen, so we just want to stay away from them.
So any chemical that ends in paraben, because paraben is not going to be just labeled as paraben, but there's a lot of different, right? There are a lot of
there's a lot of the prefix to that.
Prefix.
So a lot of anything that ends in a paraben, because you can have butyl paraben. You can there's about 3 or 4 or 5 that you can have. So anything that ends in a paraben.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting is also, if you go down to my Cinco Vidas website, you actually can, if you just give us your name, you sign up for our newsletter, you can download cards that you can take shopping with you, that I give you, that you can put in your wallet so that you can take it out and make a reference. So that's something interesting that I just wanted to make it easier for you. Another one is 1,4-dioxin, and that's also been known to be an animal carcinogen. And that can also be a byproduct of, that's not necessarily going to be on the label. Another one that I would really say, it's a really big one if we're going to stay away.
Britta?
I think we lost Britta. Let me just share the screen of her blog, the page that she was just referring to.
Yeah, good idea, Karen, because that's a really great resource.
Yeah, it's called Ingredients to Avoid in Personal Care Products. Let me see if I can do this. I think. And this is a great resource page.
Hold it, Karen. There it is. It's up on the screen, Karen.
Right. So you can scroll down to how many products. I'm just scrolling down the ingredients. Oh my gosh, it's like a mile long. 24 ingredients. It starts off with aluminum, and it has all the things that she mentioned, including 1,4-dioxane, acetone, acetate. She lists fragrance, hydroquinone, lead, parabens, petrochemicals, phthalates, propylene glycol. I see that everywhere.
Yes. It tends to be one of the first drugstore products. Yeah. You know, when you asked about formaldehyde, nail polish is totally.
Yeah.
It's very similar, and a lot of people don't realize. And I see people's nails all the time, and I just think, oh,
cringe.
You know, I cringe because actually on her blog, which is really, really, you know, it makes sense. She was talking about a study that showed that from nail polish and from like hairspray, that people are increasing their level of, not increasing, they're causing menopause to start sooner. The average age for menopause is 51, and people are starting. Right. Well, actually, I went through menopause at 48, which is kind of young if you think about it.
Well, that's what happens when you wear lipstick.
Well, I also dye my hair, so because I'm all gray. Gosh, nobody would ever notice between my bald spot. but you know, so that in 2 years, and then they're also saying that symptoms are starting 15 years before that because of what we're doing with our personal care products. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. Because how many people do you see go get it, you know, have their nails done, and everybody uses hairspray, you know? So it's like it was blowing my mind.
You know, before we started talking about,
oh, she's back.
She's back with us.
I'm back.
There you
back.
I'm back. I'm back. Where?
Okay.
You tell me where we're at.
Well, I was just showing everybody your page, the toxic ingredients on personal care products. You had 24 listed there. And we were going through them, and it lists, you know, the dioxin, lead, aluminum. Mm-hmm. Why is aluminum in our makeup? I don't get it.
It's also in a lot of antiperspirants.
Yeah, and
it's in a lot of the antiperspirants, and I think this is a great conversation to start having, is to really create awareness. Like, why are these plasticizers in our cosmetics and our body lotions? Why is aluminum in our antiperspirants? And the answer is simple: is there hasn't really been any safety testing for a long time. Companies use them. I'm a manufacturer, so for me it's been such a great experience to be on the back end of manufacture, coming in with the knowledge I did as a researcher, coming in knowing that I want to create something safe, and being able to see the type of feedback I get from the manufacturer. Well, we can just use this, we can use that. And I said, well, I would rather actually use organic jojoba oil, or I would actually rather I don't want to use a polymer. I don't want to use a silicone. And them saying, well, that's going to cost you a lot more money. And that's what I'm getting at, that it is a lot cheaper to use these ingredients that have been around for years. And now we're starting to pay attention, because 5 to 10% of cancers are genetic. The rest are lifestyle related. So we are starting to say, okay, what can we do to help? You know, what can we do as far as our diet, what we bring into our personal care products, what we bring into our homes, and the areas that we're living, what can we do about it? So the good news is that there are many companies that are paying attention, and there are many companies that are saying, no, I will not use the ingredients even if they're cheap. We are going to now, and usually a lot of these brands, and I was discussing this at a conference at the HBA. I was on a panel speaking to brands about how they can become a greener brand. And the reality is that a lot of these smaller brands, like myself, come in from a point of pain. Someone's been sick, or we've experienced that we switched to organic.
We had babies.
Babies, that's a big one, Karen.
Yeah. Yes, babies.
You're pregnant, and you're not your oncologist. Your gynecologist or your naturopath, whoever you're seeing, is saying, you know, it's common sense. Do not use retin A. Do not use glycolic acid. Do not do. Well, why? Well, because it gets absorbed into the bloodstream and eventually ends up in the fetus. So that becomes like an aha moment, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that is one of the aha moments.
It is. So if we can take those same concepts and say, well, whatever we put on our skin, about 70% of that gets absorbed. You know, if it's not good for a fetus, it's definitely not going to be good for me. And what else is not good for us? So
it's funny you mentioned that, because I always think of those signs that says baby on board on cars. I'm like, okay, so am I not supposed to hit you because there's a baby on board? But if there is no baby, then I can hit you. So, I mean, these products, just because it's bad for the fetus, well, now I can go and, be careful. But then if I'm not pregnant, I can just be, using all kinds of toxic crap. It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't, and I think when we're trying to navigate safety and cosmetics, there's definitely a lot of ingredients to stay away from, and we could go down, like there's lists in many of these sites. Your site, Karen, you've done a great job of always also creating awareness and not only sustainability, but also discussing about safety. But I think the real point in shift is a mindset. It's seek out brands and companies that are really formulating with well-being in mind. And we're not that, as a consumer, I'm a consumer too. We are no longer, you can't ignore the consumer's intelligence. We are waking up to what really is happening. And we do want to start shopping for safer products, locally sustainable food, fabrics that are, better for us as far as organic, and we do want to support fair trade ingredients. We're starting to do our part. So,
when I read your book, When Cancer Hits,
yes,
I thought my first thought was, well, if it's good for people on chemo, then it must be good for just an average person too. The same concept as the baby on board concept.
Yes.
Then when you came out with CVSkinLabs, and well, if it's good for a person who's going through chemo, it must be good for my son who, and my daughter who have eczema, or anybody who have sensitive skin or burns or sunburns or anything like that. So, like you were saying, there are brands that are good for not just, people with extreme circumstances, but for anybody who wants to just have safer ingredients on their skin.
Right.
So
yeah, and I agree. I think that most definitely, I think for me, one of the main things was safety, products that worked. Because then there's a million lines out there, and I didn't want to just come up with a line. I wanted to make sure that everything we did was driven by safety. So and can we talk a little bit about what the seals out there and
sure. Educate us.
But before you do that, I just want there to be a little awareness, because people may say, "Oh, my products are fine."
Right.
What kind of, for women and men? Give us some statistics of how many personal care products that we actually use daily, and also include teenagers, because that's the scary part. I mean, I walk into a bathroom at a mall and I see the girls with the mascara and the makeup and the lots of lipstick and more powder, and it freaks me out because they're still young and developing. So give us a little awareness shock.
Absolutely. I think this is where we all really wake up and we're like, really? This is what I do every day? And women are using about 12 to 15 products, and that ends up being over 168 different ingredients. Men are using about 6. That ends up being about 85 different ingredients. And there's a very interesting statistic here. Over a lifetime of a woman, she will ingest 4 to 6 pounds of lipstick. And in February, the FDA tested cosmetics of lead, which can impair neurological development, and they found the toxin in over 400 brands that you and I and all of us all use. So that's shocking. And I just, when we think, no, mine, I go to the counter, I go and get my gift with purchase, I know them well, I've used it for years. It's happening in more places than in all the brands that we wouldn't think. And then I want to talk a little bit about teenagers. This is, I think, the really shocking portion of it. Girls aged 8 to 12 spend over $40 million a month on beauty products. And that's 8 to 12. Now, 13 to 17, once they start wearing a lot more makeup, these are the girls you see in the bathrooms there, they're spending over $100 million a month
Oh my God! And
A
I can't
month?
imagine. And I can't
A month.
imagine what it's doing to their bodies. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just
And the average,
and you wonder why girls are starting puberty early with all
yes,
this estrogen,
yes.
hormone
puberty,
mimicking.
absolutely. The body is just lurking with estrogen mimicking chemicals, and it's getting confused. And puberty is starting early, and we're starting to have it's changing things. And the thing is, like, and let's talk about this. What do you ladies think? If I were to say to a teenager, look, I have two brands. They're both the same color or slightly different, but this one has lead and this one doesn't. My gut tells me as a teenager, because that's a conversation we need to start having with teenagers. Right. They are driving they are the ones that are driving the market. And I pretty much would say safely that they would choose the one without lead, because if you give it to them like that, they're still in that curious, well, lead, why would I use that? They're not overthinking by, no, I'm going to do anything to make me look good. They're still in that curiosity type of, that doesn't make sense. Lead? No. So we got to start talking to this generation in a different way. And I mean, of course, there is that amazing Teens Turning Green organization that's really doing a fantastic job on doing all of that. But they're really the millennials, and they are the ones that are driving everything. And what's exciting is that adults, about 40% of adults actually are reading labels now. So that's good news. And about 60% are ranking safety as part of that. So yeah, we gotta do our part. And there are many brands. What I want to say is that yes, there are big names and chemicals that sound scary, and yes, they are linked to cancer, and they have been linked to hormone disruption. But at the same time, there is also many companies that have screened these ingredients for you. They're doing the work. Once you find a product and a brand that you like, usually the philosophy falls through all of the brand, and then you can stick with them. And then as I say when I lecture, then forget about the rest.
Right.
If
you know what brand is safe, then why bother reading labels of other companies?
Right.
And it's okay to have your detective eyes on when you're going for a new brand, but until then, go with the ones that you trust.
But I think the hardest thing for women, and this is what I hear from all my friends, but I love my product. It works. I don't want to switch to something else. It may not work. It may cost me more money, and it may not work. So I'd like to go through with you, because we've talked about this before the interview. Can you give us some ideas of some brands that you seem to trust? I know, of course, yours, but other brands that you trust. So people could say, okay, I'm willing to try that. Britta says it works, and that's really where I think is very helpful.
Absolutely. I think the proof is in the pudding, in the sense that there are brands that they work. The thing too about brands, because we are demanding more natural products, raw suppliers are going and they are demanding different ingredients. So we have the access to the natural ingredients I have today than I had 4 years ago is about 30 to 40% better. So we are getting really effective ingredients. So I love it when people say, yeah, but I don't want to change my night cream because it works.
Right.
Well, the good news is that we are starting to have access to, stem cells and things that are from apples, things that can actually, that are anti-aging, things that will actually calm down inflammation, and they work. And it's not just my brand. Of course, my brand, I wanted to make sure we did clinical trials because I wanted to make sure that the products work. But that's because I had a personal experience where when I went all natural, it didn't work. But that was, 15 years ago, and that was a misconception. Now we have come so far. There's many natural brands that work. So I love, as for skincare, I love Indie Lee. She's got a full range.
I know Indie Lee's brand.
Absolutely. She's got a beautiful range for from oils, these natural oils that are so healing. Once we get all the synthetics out of the skin where they don't belong, then the skin can do its job. When you start to apply biocompatible ingredients to the skin, it recognizes them, so there is less of a chance of irritation or reaction. That's a lot of what a lot of people say. I'm allergic to everything. I can't use any chemicals. I can't use this. And what they're talking about is that the skin is their actual barrier function is compromised. And then when you have a compromised barrier, it's thirsty. So whatever you put on there is immediately going to take in. And if it's synthetic, and it can cause a reaction. So like someone like Indy Lee's got beautiful oils that are all natural. The skin just absorbs, and they do actually work. She's got a great acne line. We've got brands like for makeup, for instance, because a lot of women have a hard time finding great makeup. I love RMS Beauty. She's got really great, shadows and highlighters and blushes. I also love Dr. Hauschka. I also, and that's what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Fusion Beauty. As a makeup artist, I used to be a NARS girl, and I used to love the colors. And it's not that difficult. What I did is I tried to color match my glosses that I used to use to new ones, and I found Fusion Beauty is a beautiful company that has vibrant pigmented glosses that I always ask, what gloss are you wearing? What gloss are you wearing? What's the brand? So that's another thing. We also have Suki Naturals for skincare. Great line, great line. She's also all about performance, no synthetics, and they work. They work, You've got another line that I like is W3LL for the People. Just another beautiful brand. So much skincare as well that you have. And I usually like to say to people, start in places that people have already done the screening for you. And what I mean by that is Whole Foods could be a great place to start.
I was going to just mention that because they accept only, right, with especially health and beauty products that are meeting their qualifications.
Their standards.
Right.
Yeah, that's important. Like we want to make this easy for you. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You need to be aware of what's happening, but then go to the places that have already done the footwork for you. There are many websites on Cinco Vidas, and Karen, maybe we can get this up on a blog or something. But
I'm going to write a post about this tomorrow. So if you email me those brands also that I can include and the links.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I have websites that we just found, and these websites have all these requirements, and they will not let they won't let brands in that don't meet their criteria of ingredients, that shouldn't be on there, organic content, natural content, etc. So once you're in those websites, which sell over, 20, 30, 40 brands, O&N Collective is a perfect example. The founder, Michelle Weatherby, she sells about 7 or 8 brands, but she does all the screening. She has brands like Lymphoma and Tata Harper, etc. And so once you're in those places, that's where you can feel comfortable that you can then buy. And you're buying for many reasons. You're buying to calm the skin. You're buying for anti-aging. You're buying for acne. It's not only a misconception that now only bath products should be natural, right? You can actually have high-performance products.
Britta, what about nail polish?
So nail polish, I'm glad we talked about this. There's a lot of brands that did get on board with getting off of the free 3. So mostly all of them are good, but I really tend to fall. I love Essie, it's everywhere as well. But one of the things that you can do is buy your own polish. Bring it with you to wherever you go. There should be an excuse, buy your own polish with you, your own top coat. And if you like to get manicures, go and bring all that stuff with you. And there's amazing nail polish removers that are soy-based. They take a little time. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called New Organics. Karen, I'll let you know. You can put it up tomorrow. And
there's also a Scotch brand that I reviewed on my site.
Perfect.
Yeah, Scotch has no smell, and you have to use
acetone free, and
right. You have to use their nail polish remover because otherwise you can't remove it. But I have to tell. I'm sorry.
I just want to know, you didn't tell us what polishes that you like.
Like the actual colors?
No, the brands.
Essie. I'm a big one with Essie.
Do they make non-toxic line?
They do.
Okay.
And not only that, we also have.
What do you think about OPI? Because I know they came out with non-toxic line, so to speak, but they smell.
Yeah, I think like most of and see, this is another example as well as to why when the consumer drives that there is no need for formaldehyde or DBP, how they just immediately remove it and you still have a good polish. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Like,
so why'd you have it in the first place?
Why'd you have it there in the first place? Yes. The brand that I love, I just can't think of it right now, that and I buy the polishes. So Essie is a brand that it's free of the 3. OPI still has a strong smell.
Yeah.
And
Zoya was one of them.
Zoya. Did you just say Zoya?
Yeah, but it also.
There's also Life is Beautiful, is another one too.
Life is Beautiful?
I think I may be saying it wrong. I may be saying it backwards.
Okay.
But there's another one in New Jersey. But there's a few that are. But you know what the problem was is that you had products, I forget their names, that was really hard to take off. Like it would stay on for a week and you couldn't get it off.
Scotch.
There was another one just like Scotch.
Okay.
And so people said not doing it. So they said that's what happens. You have one bad response and they just pull back and say I'm not trying anything else. And that's what makes it hard for I think the industry.
Yeah, Zoya is a good one, but there's many. And but for the most part, I think in the nail polish department, that's the one area when the consumer started driving, getting out the formaldehyde, that a lot of them really immediately did that. So that's just the awareness of, if we keep demanding safer products, because we're voting with our dollars. I mean, essentially, that's what we're doing. And
can I just give you a shameless plug about your company?
Yes, we'd like to hear about your company.
Oh,
I'm going to put up a picture of the review that I did of your Rescue and Remedy, or Rescue and Relief.
Rescue and Relief, yeah, the
Rescue
spray.
and Relief.
Yeah, I was very interested in
that screen.
I was very interested in it. Karen, can you go up, or do I have to put you up?
No.
Okay, you're up.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just explain about this product. This is made with cucumber, and you can correct me, Britta. Cucumber, comfrey, and mushroom. I mean, all the stuff that you eat, right?
And grow, and grow, and grow.
But look at the difference of the, of the healing. I mean, the inflammation just went down by the second day. I was just amazed. And I've tried everything on my children's skin, so I was just amazed, and I keep saying that it's magical, because it's like magic. It just disappears. The inflammation just disappears.
I took that from you. You said it's magical.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, people can't believe that a natural product, because it's all natural. It's 84% organic, and thank you. It's got turmeric, reishi mushroom, and bisabolol, which comes from chamomile. And the main ingredient in there that I think creates the magic is water lily, which takes out the toxic heat from the skin to allow throbbing and redness to calm down.
I thought it was cucumber, because you know how cucumber is really soothing? I thought it was cucumber, and it smells like cucumber. And I keep it in the fridge, so that the coldness just makes it that much better when it goes on the skin. I think we lost her again.
But Karen, talk about that. We lost her, but one of the things that I found interesting about a product was there's so many kids with eczema, and you've tried that product, and it's like one of those things like people have been trying for years to find a remedy for their kids' eczema, and eczema doesn't go away.
It's genetics.
Right, so you tried a product. Okay, well, I loved when you talked about that. Sometimes when you find products, you say, it's for cancer survivors, that it's also really good for, everybody else too. And was that the Skin and Rescue that you used? Was that the one for eczema?
Yeah, Rescue and Remedy. I keep forgetting. Rescue and Relief. It's Rescue and Relief from SkinLabs. And it comes in a spray. I keep it in the fridge, like I said. And when it gets really inflamed, I just spray it on. And literally in a couple of hours, you can see the difference.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the itching? Itching?
Itching comes because you're inflamed. So when the inflammation goes down, it reduces the itchiness. And so you don't, tend to scratch. And then once the inflammation calms down, then it starts to dry out, almost like, healing from a sunburn. You start to peel and things like that. And you can continue to use it to moisturize. And she also has skin balm, which is just amazing. It's called Restorative Skin Balm.
What's it do?
It almost, the consistency is like Vaseline, except there's no petroleum in there. And it's all natural. And it really, really, keeps the skin really moist, and the dryness, it's like it's not there. It gets really supple.
Can you use it as a preventative to eczema?
Sure.
Okay, especially in the winter, because that's when eczema tends to be like the worst, or in summer when you're sweating a lot.
Right. When you start to sweat, it becomes really red. You get inflamed. You just build up so much heat.
What else does she have?
That's when I use that spray.
What else does she have?
She has just a regular lotion for people, just like somebody who doesn't have any kind of skin ailments. So the lotion scent, it's very soothing. It's not as thick as the balm, but it's very soothing, and I love the fact that it's not so fragrant. You know how a lot of these lotions have it's either too much fragrance or not enough fragrance. But this one you can tell that there's a lot of these natural, some sort of vegetables or some kind of something, very faint scent to it, which makes it really soothing and refreshing.
Which is amazing, because just the things that she said, I think 8 out of 10 of that I grow.
I know.
I was just like, Britta, come to my house and just buy my stuff,
if you ate the stuff, like if you squeeze it, or if you, let's say, licked and it's on your skin, it won't kill you.
Right. That's basically it. Karen, can you take a peek at the website to see if we have any questions? Because I forgot to mention that in the beginning. If there's anybody who has any questions, we may get Britta back for some questions. We should definitely have her back. She's amazing. Yeah, she has so much to talk about. Because not only did she experience it, she did all the research to manufacture the product. And I think sometimes we forget, well, why can't we have XYZ and I want this and I want that, and yet you just can't sometimes, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to be on her shoes, as a manufacturer, like she said. But see, that was something that I really wanted to talk to you about, and we're running out of time. But I really wanted to talk from a manufacturing perspective. Why we're always being given. Besides, it's cheaper. You've got these emulsifiers and waxes, and is it always just because it's cheaper? There's more probably to the story, and I think it's also because that's the old way. And she's on the manufacturing end, which is really very cool because she doesn't need those. And I think that's a great story just in itself. Well, she's done it all. I mean, she went through the health scare, and then she wrote a book about it to help people, and then she decided to make the product herself. I mean, talk about a DIY. This goes beyond that. So, but don't you find that most of the guests that we have, a lot of times that whatever they make or do is because of something that's happened to them or a loved one? It's just kind of like that's how the natural flow goes. I think even just, ourselves, like I said before, I think people start thinking about the environment, toxicity in the world when you experience something. I mean, luckily for you and me, we start thinking about this because we had babies or we have a family and we want to have a safe home. But for someone like her who went through a scare like that, I can't imagine going 16? Through that at age. I know, at age 16, and then to deal with your own dad going through, 8 years. It's hard. It's hard. Oh my God. But anyway, we're running. We went over the time. So Jesse, do you have any questions? And we talked a lot. We talked for 40 minutes. I think we answered everybody's questions. So. If there's any questions, let me just get back up. If there's any questions, please go. We're going to have the video pack will be put back up on our website. Make sure you ask questions in the comments because we'll have Britta come back and answer those questions. And if you missed it live, don't worry about it. Karen's going to put a post up tomorrow with the video. I'll fix up the video and make it look all pretty, and it'll go up tomorrow. But it's a really important topic, and it's really a discussion. I have to agree with Britta about one thing. Start having this discussion with your teenage daughters and your young girls because she's right. It starts with them. And if we can change the way they view cosmetics, that'll change all the way down. So well, my daughter wrote a two-part post on Eco Karen, how to buy makeup for teenagers. And we went through that whole, thing at age 13, in fact, when she started,
like talking to me about what can I buy, and you know, like she didn't go heavy, but then that's when we started talking about it. And I took her to the mall and told her, we went down this one popular store that I won't mention. This aisle is bad, that aisle is bad. Yep, this is bad, that's bad. And you know, I taught her how to read her labels, and now she knows like what she needs to look for when she's looking for something. Even when she's on online stores, at least she has those words in her mind, so that she knows what to avoid. So it is. I think teenagers are where we have to start.
Karen, make sure you link that in the article, because that might be a great piece for women to give to their daughters to read from and other teenagers.
Right. I'll also link all the brands that she mentioned.
Yes.
I'll link her site, so everything will be there by tomorrow on Green Sisterhood.
Yes, and everybody, next Tuesday is another Tuesday Talk. We have them every Tuesday at 2 o'clock East Coast time. Please tweet out, Facebook, and share our videos. We'd like to get the word out about what we're doing, and follow us and make sure you comment and watch the videos. So everybody, thank you so much for coming. And Britta, I'm sorry that you had to leave so quickly because of Google. And I look forward to seeing everybody next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday.